Alright, what's up guys, Toasty here, Get Burnt. Today I'm going to be talking more about Dragon Ball Z games, and today I'm going to be talking about 3D versus 2D games, and a lot of people have a lot of things to say about this one. Mainly, I would probably see a lot more people saying that 2D games are better, but I want to talk about this. I also want to talk about a possible 2D Dragon Ball Z game after Xenoverse. So, if you are going to be excited about any sort of thing in this video, especially if there was a 2D Dragon Ball Z game made after Dragon Ball Xenoverse, make sure to hit this video up with a like so I can see how many of you actually want a new Dragon Ball Z game in 2D, so I can maybe tell Namco Bandai, maybe see if they can actually get some sort of 2D Dragon Ball Z game out there in the future. But let's start this video. So, honestly, for me, 2D versus 3D Dragon Ball Z games, I honestly prefer the 2D ones because, first of all, they can most of the time look better. It's a lot. Well, it doesn't seem like it's a lot harder to do or to get down well, but they're a lot more in depth. They're really cool. When you just first play Budokai or anything like that, you probably don't think that it's that in depth, or you don't think that it's that good. But then when you look on the internet and you look on some like videos of people who do really cool combos and really awesome sort of things with Budokai 3, I can't believe it. And honestly, they're more enjoyable to play, and it could just be a bias since I mainly played 2D Dragon Ball Z games in my childhood. The biggest 3D Dragon Ball Z game in my childhood was BT2, and I didn't play BT3 a lot as a child. I don't know, I just didn't do it. But for me, it was either Budokai 3 or it was Budokai 2. I really didn't have I played Budokai 1, but I didn't play Budokai 1 for long, mainly because, you know, the story, it just went to the Cell Saga. I loved the story in Budokai 1, but obviously afterward there wasn't a lot much else to do. There weren't a lot of characters to play from, and it wasn't a long experience for me. But Budokai 2 and Budokai 3 were what really took most of my time as a kid. I didn't play a lot of Infinite World as a kid, but when I did grow older, obviously to right now, when I'm still playing Dragon Ball Z games, funnily enough, I did play Infinite World, and I love Infinite World. I love it a lot, and even I think that I may like Infinite World more than Budokai 3, but that's another video for another day. I don't want to make anyone mad, but well, yeah, I'm going to make a lot of people mad with this video. But yeah, the 3D games, obviously, for me, I think that they're really good. Obviously, there are some really good ones. I think the Tenkaichi series is probably the best of 3D series. Obviously, there really isn't that much else to compete with it. A lot of people would say the Virgin Blast 2 is better, but honestly, it really isn't. They say that it's exactly Tenkaichi 3, but it really isn't. There isn't. Everything that was in Tenkaichi 3 wasn't really in RB2, especially for the story mode. And even though story mode for me anymore in DBZ games is not needed, well, the normal Dragon Ball Z story mode, it still is something that does give the game a little bit more longevity instead of just having the character roster and some mode that we don't want to even play to have to unlock the characters with. Honestly, I liked BT3 more than RB2, which is funny because a lot of people would disagree with that. It's just my personal opinion. I don't know. But for the 2D games, I like them a lot more. I think that they are a lot better in terms of how many things you can do with the game. Obviously, there are some cool combos in both Tenkaichi 3 and in RB2. There are some really crazy combos and stuff, although I do think it takes a little bit more skill to do it in the Budokai series. So, honestly, that's just my favorite. That's just what I think. But now we're going to be getting to what everybody wanted to hear about from the beginning of this video. A 2D Dragon Ball Z game being made after Xenoverse. So, the only things that I could see being made after Xenoverse for Dragon Ball Z are a remake of Zenkai Battle Royale or a new game. And a new game I really don't think is going to be a 3D game, mainly because for Xenoverse, they really are trying to make this a long-lasting Dragon Ball Z game for us. They want us to play this game for more than a year, for more than just a small amount of time like that we played all the other DBZ games for. They want us to have some sort of longevity with this game. So I think that they're probably going to end up trying to make a nice 2D game, especially since it's going to actually be on the next-gen consoles, or next-gen, I guess current-gen now, PS4 and Xbox One, and please, PC, I just want this to become a trend for Dragon Ball Z games just to now be released on PC, but yes, I think that they will end up making somewhat of a new Dragon Ball Z 2D game that could maybe be somewhat along the lines of Hyper DBZ, but I don't know if as hardcore, because in the Budokai series, even if you didn't know all the big combos and you couldn't do like all the juggling and everything like that, you were still able to enjoy the game. Hyper DBZ, a lot of people have asked me to talk about Hyper DBZ as well. I think that Hyper DBZ is a really good idea. It was really cool. Obviously, I don't think it's the best DBZ game, mainly because it itself is not a Dragon Ball Z game. It's just Mugen, or Mugen, however you say it, engine with Dragon Ball Z slapped on top of it. Obviously, it is a really cool game, and if you haven't checked Hyper DBZ out yet, then I really encourage you to, because it is really cool. But I think that's something along more the lines of Budokai or Burst Limit is something better to go through instead of Hyper DBZ, mainly because Hyper DBZ itself, for that game, it seems like you really need to know some combos or have some sort of expertise in fighting in a 2D element to actually do really well and enjoy the game to its fullest extent. And obviously, it's the same thing with Budokai, although in Budokai you can enjoy your time playing it even if you don't know all the combos and everything, and that's something that I really like about Budokai, because myself, for all of you that don't know, I really am not great at Dragon Ball Z or at games in general, so playing Budokai and still enjoying it, even though I'm not that great at it, is something that I really enjoyed. So I think that that's really awesome. Also, the thing that I like more about the 2D games is that there is more difficulty. I don't know why, but after Infinite World and all that stuff, when they went to the 3D Dragon Ball Z games, the difficulty kind of went down the toilet. I never played Burst Limit, or I haven't gotten to play Burst Limit yet. I've only played it a small amount of time, but I have not gotten to fully play it myself in my own house and everything. So I really don't know how the difficulty is on Burst Limit. I don't know if it's as difficult as the Budokai games were, but the Budokai games themselves were a lot harder, especially Infinite World. Infinite World itself is a masochistic game. It's really tough, but I think that those games having that much difficulty also gives you some sort of longevity, because for me at least, when there's a lot more difficulty in a fighting game, I try to defeat the highest difficulty, even though I never was able to really do that in Budokai, because Budokai had crazy difficulty. I still enjoyed playing in that difficulty, because Tenkaichi 3 is probably the most difficult a Dragon Ball 3D game has been, and I honestly did not get a huge challenge out of that either. I don't know. I would assume that they could make a 3D game a lot harder. Hopefully Xenoverse is a lot harder than the other Dragon Ball Z games that are in 3D, because honestly I'm looking for a challenge, because a game being easy is probably one of the only things, or Dragon Ball Z game at least, a game being that easy is something that really chops the longevity in half for me, mainly because in RB2's very hard, or very strong mode, is the easiest thing. It's so easy, and it's so stupid. I don't understand why it's so easy. I get it. The games are bought by a lot of kids, but honestly, I want some difficulty in my Dragon Ball Z game. It gives me challenge. It makes me want to play it more. If I can defeat the very strong using one hand, which I've done before on RB2, by the way, there's a problem. So I think that they need to ramp up the difficulty if they make a new Dragon Ball Z 2D game after Xenoverse. I think that that sort of thing is pretty possible, since we haven't had a 2D game since Burst Limit, and I think that that sort of thing would be really cool to see again, especially on the new consoles. They can maybe push it to the absolute limits, or to the limit that they can do it right now. Obviously, Dimps is probably going to be the one to make it. If not, it's going to be some other company, mainly because Spike themselves don't really seem to be making that many new Dragon Ball Z games. But I guess that Zenkai could technically count as it, although Zenkai would pretty much just be a port, I would believe. So, I don't know. I think that a 2D Dragon Ball Z game would be really cool to see again, especially on the new consoles. I think that that sort of thing would look really nice, because Burst Limit itself, for me, is the best looking Dragon Ball Z game so far. Xenoverse probably will maybe beat it. So I think that Burst Limit's the best looking, and I think that for the new 2D game, or a new 2D game, they can make this look extremely good. So, tell me what you guys think about this. I think that Burst Limit's the best looking, and I think that for the new 2D game, or a new 2D game, they can make this look extremely good. So, tell me what you guys think about this. Would you guys want a 2D Dragon Ball Z game after Xenoverse? And if so, tell me why. And what do you think about 3D versus 2D Dragon Ball Z games? Are you on the 3D side? Do you like the Budokai Tenkaichi and Raging Blast series more than the Budokai series, or vice versa? Do you like the Budokai series and Burst Limit more than the Raging Blast and Budokai Tenkaichi series? That's all I gotta say for today, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit it up with a like, because I really wanted to talk about this. This was a really cool topic to talk about, and I really want to see what you guys think about this. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys later. And, yeah, subscribe to become a Super Saiyan if you have not already. And if you guys don't know me, my name is Toasty. I upload a bunch of Dragon Ball Z and Naruto content about the games. And, yeah, that's all I gotta say for today. I will see you guys later with more Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, and all that other stuff. Peace out.